Hello, it's Nikki. Welcome back to my monthly review of October 2023. I was just taking a moment then and giving myself a little pat on the back because I have done these since March 2023, every single month. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So this is my 8th one. And I'm really enjoying sharing on this level because it's so good for me to sit back and reflect as well. So I guess that's the first thing that I want to share with you. The importance of reflection. And at this time of year, you can very easily hop, skip, and jump to well, I'll do that next year. And that next year is going to be my year. You know, these phrases come up I'm just going to do all of the things right now because I'll undo it all when I start in January. And you will have heard me talking about this before. January is sometimes really difficult and not necessarily the most motivating time for people because you're still in the Christmas mode. Maybe you've got children off school who are not going back for a little while. It's cold, it's dark. You've got a lot of cheese and chocolate in the house, which may not be great for clarity. And this pressure that we put on January the 1st to have all of the answers and this brand new version of ourselves can sometimes be a lot. So I would love you to take some time right now, as I have, to really reflect on this year and what's been happening, what's worked, what answers you've gained, and what's really come to the surface. As I have been doing this throughout the year, it's been quite confronting at times. It's almost like I've pulled up all of the stuff. And some of it felt really old, some felt outdated, some felt no longer relevant, some stuff felt really painful. And yet, I feel I'm now at a stage where I really have a clear understanding and I've actually moved a lot of stuff on. Bizarrely, it's sort of been like a grieving process when you lose somebody close to you because in a way, I do feel like it's a new... Oh, wow, I'm really going there, aren't I? In a way, I do feel like it's a new chapter of my life. You know, I'm moving into a stage from having been at home for the last 8 years with intermittent childcare to having both children at the same place, at school, 5 days a week. And that has been an enormous shift in terms of... what do I mean here? In terms of my day, my working day, feeling much more structured. So before I had children, I would work in a way where I knew when I was working and then I knew when I was not working. And when I did my coach training in 2012, I really had to... that was very much the beginning. And then I had my son in 2015. So yeah, over... nearly 15 years I've been working in this way, where I've always felt like I was doing all of the things all at the same time. So I'd work on a Sunday or I'd be doing whatever it might be. And I am now getting back to a point where I'm feeling a bit more grounded, I guess the word is, in terms of my working week and trying to separate things a little bit more. And I'm really enjoying it. So yes, that was a roundabout way of saying reflections. Number 2, it's my birthday next week. And I know that I always have a huge shift in October because birthdays for me are... there are a lot of things, aren't they? They're kind of gratitude that you've lived another year, of what you've experienced. And do you know what? I never take life for granted. I really don't. And I'm always in it and exploring it and examining it in a way. And in October, it's almost like I'm coming around the bend of the year. And I really spend time thinking about where I'm going next and really thinking and I did this just before I turned 40. There is this enormous pressure to say, right, I've got to do all of these things before I turn 40. And this reframe of the question really helped me, which was, what do I want to let go of before I turn 40? What do I want to put away? What do I want to release? What do I want to break up with? All of these things. And that was so helpful in terms of material possessions, in terms of systems or I don't know, companies I was using, how I was spending my time, habits that no longer served me. And throughout this process, I was working with some of my limiting beliefs the other day, and I realized like some of them were 30 years old because I started secondary school 30 years ago. And in that process, I had to have a big old word with myself and say, no more. Like, you don't need to hold on to these things anymore. Number three, I have got back to visualization and meditation this month. This is so powerful for me, and yet I resist it. And I said to my partner the other day of talking about meditation, and he was like, how was it? And I said, it was really uncomfortable. He was like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I found it really difficult to stay still and focus on what I should be doing, which is why I need meditation. And meditation for me is like the flossing of my brain. It's like getting all of the old bits of, sorry, I won't go too much into that analogy, but it's giving it a good old wash and going, hang on a minute. It's like a refresh, a reset. And even though people would say, you know, you start every day fresh, if you've got small children or if you're, you know, you haven't had a great night's sleep, sometimes I can wake up feeling like the cycle of the washing machine hasn't quite come to a close, and there's like dregs of the night before or the week or other stuff. And meditation first thing in the morning just helps me click in, reset. It's almost like a big dog, like having a big shake and getting rid of anything excess. And I love it. It really, really calms me, grounds me, centers me, and gives me lots of answers. So try it. Even if you're, and I said this to one of my best pals the other day, she was like, oh yeah, I used to really have a great meditation practice. And she was like, oh, and now I don't. And I said to her, well, it's there whenever you need to pick it up. That's the thing. Meditation doesn't have a judgment. Well, unless it's an app going, hello, where have you been? It doesn't mind. It's okay. So come back to it whenever you need it. Another thing that I've noticed is my daughter is in school now, like big time. She's into it all. She's sussing all the things. And as she goes through day to day, like she's noticing that it's not just her classroom. Her world is opening up. You know, she goes out to forest school. She goes to this, the gym. You know, she's really noticing school. And when they both come home after school, there's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of chat. There's a lot of stuff going on. I've had to stick something on the front door of like what everybody needs every single day, because sometimes it can just feel a lot. And it was really interesting noticing how I needed to step up as a parent. And there are moments in all of our roles, I'm sure of it, where everything feels a bit unsettled, and it's almost like we have to go back to the job description, or we have to redefine boundaries or work out how to deal with a new situation. And I found that this term has really encouraged me / forced me to up my game as a parent. And I've always been a very conscientious parent. I'm always endeavoring to do the best thing. But what I found was that the children needed something different from me. And so with that in mind, I am always approaching this situation with care and consideration and awareness. And I realize sometimes those moments when even when I'm feeling impatient, or I've asked them to do lots again and again, or I'm having a bad day, I will really actively try not to take that out on them and be as patient and encouraging and open and welcoming as I can. And here is where I want to go with this. I asked myself if I was doing that with myself as I went through this transition as well. And the truth was, when I sat with that, I was not being as kind and as considerate to myself. In fact, I was saying, like, come on, get on with it. Why are you not making more progress? Why are you not doing all of the things? Why? I was really on my own back. And I know that I don't respond well to that. I would never want to go to a personal trainer who'd be one of those who's like, basically, you're a piece of whatever, and I'm just going to shout at you until you do things. That is not how I respond. And so my question for you is, how are you talking to yourself? Would you talk to anybody else in the way that you are doing so? And what changes do you need to make there? Okay. I decided this month to speak much more pertinently about certain topics that I really believed in. And it's interesting with content is because I think because the world feels very heavy at the moment, we must be aware of what's going on, whether we consciously do that or unconsciously. But this thing about imposter syndrome and people kind of it being bestowed upon them, like we have to take this thing on, I really challenged it. And I noticed the huge spike in my podcast and in my stats and people messaging me saying, thank you for talking about that. And it felt, when I shared it, quite out of my comfort zone. So I'm really delighted that I did do that. And it's given me the push that I needed to continue on pushing myself, essentially. And the final thing is, I have invested in myself again this month. And this, again, was a stretchy, and again, it comes up every time. Should I be doing this? Is there a better use of this money? I really go through it with a fine-tooth comb. But when I thought about where I'm going and who I want to be, this decision became non-negotiable because I did need help in this particular area. I did want to be inspired. I did want to open up more space for this. And it's been really interesting to recognize that similar pattern again, because it does. It's an old pattern that comes up again and again. Should you be doing this? All of that. I did a whole 10-part series on this investing process and why I did what I did. So you can go ahead and watch that. It's all on YouTube's as little shorts. Anyway, that is it. We are now in November. I hope you are going to have a great month ahead, whatever that looks like for you. If you want help, if you want focus, if you want structure, if you want someone in your corner, you know where I am, as always. Everything is under my Work With Me page on my website. And you can search by whatever it is that you need. So if it's more website stuff, if it's more speaking stuff or content or money or goal setting, whatever it is, you can easily find it. But if you can't, just use that messenger button down below and I will come back to you very shortly. Lots of love and thank you for watching these. As always, if you like them, do subscribe. You can head over to my YouTube channel as well. That's where I update lots of videos too. Lots of love and see you next month. Bye.